Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Geek with Glasses. In this video, it's going to be dedicated to all Apple. Let's take the next few minutes and do a quick rundown of the WWDC keynote speech, which just concluded out at the Moscone Center in San Francisco, which kicks off the WWDC week for Apple. For those of you who don't know, WWDC is a worldwide developer conference. It's a conference put on by Apple, bringing all the developers together and obviously the press to talk about new features and new products that they're going to be releasing from the software perspective. So let's jump right in. I'm going to be looking down every now and then. I got an iPad with my notes, and the two big things that were discussed this year on WWDC is OSX 10, the next iteration, which is going to be called Yosemite, and iOS 8, which will be on all of the mobile devices. So let's talk about some of the features that are going to be new to OSX Yosemite. First of all, they've got a new Aqua interface. It is being updated. It's got a lot of really cool transparencies, cool new transparencies behind the windows, whole new set of icons, kind of look like iOS 8-ish or iOS 7-ish icons for your dock bar, for all your native Apple apps. And you'll have to excuse the noise upstairs. It's in the middle of the day. I wanted to get this video out so the kids are running around. The new interface with the transparency actually reminds me a little bit of Aero in Windows 7, which I thought that was kind of interesting, the way you can see through the windows and see the pictures that are in the background. So there's a little bit of that. And then they have a new feature called dark mode. If you want to focus on the product that you're working on, or the software that you're working on, or whatever it is that you're doing, if you're playing a game, reading the web, responding to emails, you want that to stand out. You can put it in dark mode, and it takes all of your dock and your menu bars and everything and puts them in a dark mode. It's kind of a reverse mode. Got a lot of fanfare for that, which I thought was kind of interesting. The next thing is the updates to Notification Center. The Notification Center is now going to be completely customizable with widgets, which is really nice. One of the things they demoed was like an eBay widget, where you could drag an eBay widget into the sidebar and update bids based on things that you were currently bidding on. And you could get live weather, and they're interactive, so you open up that sidebar, you can open a widgets option, you'll be listed with a bunch of widgets, and then you'll be able to add them to the sidebar and put that in your notification center in OSX 10, which I think is really cool. Spotlight is no longer just a little button at the top right, which will actually probably be over here for you guys watching the video, that drops down so that you can do in your searches. It's going to come up full screen if you go to Spotlight. You know, Apple signs the space bar, full screen, and Spotlight now integrates map information, movie time information, Yelp reviews, lots of other online content. It kind of looks like they're getting rid of Google and trying to alleviate Google from the search bar. You can also initiate Spotlight within the new version of Safari. So if you go into the URL bar and type in, you know, I want to watch a movie, it'll do the same type of stuff, kind of like what Siri does now, directly in the new version of Safari on the new updated OS X. The next thing that they discussed with OS X 10 is iCloud and the new iCloud Drive. So syncing of all devices, including Windows. And they showed a couple of demos where you can be working on a document on your iPad. You get this really cool notification center notification in this new feature called Continuity, which we'll get to in a moment. Lets you know that you're working on something. You can swipe it open, whether it's media, whether it's a file that you're looking at or editing or working on. You have all of that available with iCloud, and we'll talk about some of the updates to iCloud as well in just a minute. Okay, so next is the Yosemite feature in the Mail updates. So the Mail app has gotten a couple of new features and a couple of updates. Mail Drop, which is a new feature in Mail, which will allow you to actually send large files via your iCloud storage to non-Mac users. So a lot of times you send an email to somebody who's got a Yahoo or an MSN or a Google Gmail account, and it gets bounced back because it's 2 gigs, 3 gigs, 4 gigs in size. The new feature built into Yosemite called Mail Drop will actually allow you to send an email and send a file attachment up to 5 gigs in size. And what happens is that file attachment goes up into your iCloud storage and stays there. And what happens is your recipient gets an email. If they're on a Mac, they'll see the attachment. If they're not on the Mac, if they open up Yahoo Mail or MSN Mail, they'll get the email, and then they'll have a secure link, I think I just said that twice. You will get a encrypted, secured link back to that attachment that is stored in your personal iCloud, which is kind of cool. I actually like that. Kind of alleviates me having to use things like Dropbox and a couple of other things for sending large attachments to folks. And then new markup capabilities within Mail. So you can use your trackpad and draw things on your email. It's got this new intelligent, like if you were to draw a little chat bubble, it'll create a really nice looking chat bubble in an email message, so you can point something out. Or they showed a demonstration, and you'll be able to see all this on the Apple website very soon. But cool markup capabilities within Mail. Next thing they talked about is Safari. I talked about it a minute ago. The URL bar will integrate Spotlight, so you can just go into the URL and you can launch apps from the URL from Safari. You can open up emails. You can look for certain things on the internet, and it'll all happen directly from the URL bar. New tab and tab stacking. So they showed this very cool feature where if you're like my wife, who has 18 to 40 tabs open at any one point in time, you can just use your trackpad or your swipe on your mouse and very quickly scroll through all those tabs, or hit a button and show a stack. And it'll give you this kind of, they called it an overview of all of your tabs in what looks like an expose type view, but more importantly, it'll stack like tabs. So let's say you've got 4 or 5 tabs open that are linked to Pinterest, or 4 or 5 Facebook tabs, or shopping tabs. It'll stack like tabs together, and you can just click in very easily and get to the content that you liked. Very cool for those tab manipulators. I know a few of them. My wife is one, and a couple of other friends. Tabs are to-do lists, so this will make to-do lists a little bit easier using Safari. New private window alongside with a normal window, so you can have a normal browsing window and a private. So let's say you're doing some banking while you're talking on Facebook. You can open up an instance of Safari and make it private, and it will not affect Facebook and Pinterest and all of your other social networking stuff. But you can open up your Mint account and your bank account and your eBay account and purchase things, and that'll all be completely in a private, separate window that won't affect. So when you close this, these don't close, which is kind of cool. And a new feature, which is HTML5 video streaming, which allows for video streaming without plugins. So one of the things that they specifically discussed was Netflix. You can now go to Netflix, stream content directly to Safari without having to install the Silverlight plugin, which I think is awesome. And continuity. So one of the things they talked a lot about was integration between iOS and macOS. And they're calling it continuity. And the features that continuity has is actually really cool. I was very impressed. There was some of the things that made me smile the most. Continuity AirDrop is now going to work between iOS and OSX. So if I have an app on my phone, or not an app, but a photo on my phone, I can, on my Mac, I'm sorry, I can AirDrop that to my wife's Mac. Well, let's say I took a photo with my phone. I can't AirDrop. I have to either message it to her or email it to her. I can now use AirDrop on the phone and AirDrop directly to a Mac, or vice versa. iPad to Mac, Mac to phone, phone to iPad, whatever you want, which is really cool. Handoff. Handoff will allow you to work on multiple devices with a single file, which is really neat. They showed this demo where I opened up a document. Let's say I'm editing a PowerPoint document on my iPad. My phone, through a perimeter, geofencing, or I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was perimeter awareness. My phone would have an alert in the lower left-hand side that if I had PowerPoint on here, as not PowerPoint because they don't use PowerPoint, but presentations, it would show me a little icon saying that I've got presentations open on another device. And this can be phone, Mac, iPad. And I can very easily just swipe and continue editing on this device. So if I open an email on my phone, I get home, I want to type in more, I want to add attachments, I just open up my Mac's email account, I'll see a notification in the notification center that I've started, the draft opens right up, and I can continue from there. Really cool continuity, and that's called the handoff feature. Hotspot capability. If you've got a phone and you're paying for a tethering, you can instantaneously make a hotspot for your Mac. So if you're running a Mac, let's say you got a MacBook, and you leave the house, and your phone is already on and you've got hotspot set up on your phone, your Mac knows it's there. You click on the networking option, drag it down, it sees your phone, and instantly creates a connection. No passwords needed, no SIDs needed. It's a direct link that you'll create between your Mac and your phone, which was really cool. Text messaging. So right now, if we use messages on your Mac or on your phone or on your iPad, you get green, you get the blue little windows. If somebody sends you a text message, if your friend is using an Android or a BlackBerry and they send you a text message, it comes in as a green, and those will not show up in the Messages app on your Mac. They've alleviated that problem. You now use your connection between your phone and your Mac and it will act as a broker. So if you get a text message from a Google user or a BlackBerry user on your phone, that'll show up in the Messages app on macOS as well, which is awesome because I no longer have to use things like GChat for certain people and have that set up. Well, obviously you can do that, but if you're out and about, you can get those messages directly on your computer and not have to use the phone. So phone calls is the next feature. If you've got your Mac brokered and connected to your phone, you can get caller ID on your Mac. You can launch calls from your contact list on your Mac or on a web page. If you see a phone number, you click it and it'll automatically dial your iPhone, again, using your Mac as a speakerphone, and vice versa. So you can see calls that are coming in and answer them. So that's another really cool feature that they've integrated in this continuity feature. So that's, for the most part, that's everything OSX related. Let's talk about iOS 8, which was announced as well. By the way, OSX 10 Yosemite available for developers today. A beta program, first time in Apple history, will be available in the summer. You can go to the Apple website. I'll have more information in the links below. You can sign up for beta and get the beta version of OSX Yosemite. And then it'll be released, general release in the fall. So iOS 8 was next on the docket, and updates the notification center, widgets. So we now have the ability to have specific widgets in the notification center, and it's not going to be on the home screen, but it'll be in the notification center, and they're interactive widgets, which is kind of cool. You get a text message, you can be on the lock screen, you get a text message that pops down, you can hit the accept button, or you can just reply right on the lock screen and hit go, and it'll send, which is really nice. Same for calendar. If you get a calendar invite, you can accept or decline a calendar invite, so you get kind of interactive notifications with the new notification center. You can double tap for feature access. Right now, if you double tap, it brings up all your apps, so you can swipe apps and get rid of them. It'll also bring up your most recent and favorited users, so you can make quick phone calls directly just by double tapping on the screen. Single gesture mark as read, which in email you can just, if you're reading an email and you want to mark it as read, you can swipe to the right. It'll automatically mark it as unread, which is kind of nice. Let's see. Swipe down while replying to email access. So I can write an email, I can swipe down on the email that I'm reading on my iOS device and access other email sections. So I don't have to cancel that or save it as a draft. It automatically saves it as a draft. I can go and copy and paste from another message, swipe back up, put it in that message, and hit send. Spotlight will do the same types of searching that we discussed with OSX on the phone. So you'll be able to do Wikipedia searches and Yelp searches and so on and so forth directly from the search capability on the phone. Quick type, predictive type text, you've seen this on Android forever. You start typing a word, it thinks it knows what it wants. The other thing is it does some predictive. So like, let's say you're very businesslike when you speak to one person and you're very, you use professional terminology when you're speaking to one person, but then your buddy, you use, non-professional terminology, you use a lot of slang terms or whatever. It apparently will learn that. And so if you're responding to your business associate, it'll give predictive words in a business format. Or if you're responding to your buddy and you use terms like epic, cool, or radical or whatever, it'll predict that as well. And those words will come up for the predictive text, which is kind of cool. Not something that really kind of floats my boat, but that's cool. And then all the continuity features, which I just briefly talked about. Everything, the continuity between all of your devices and your Macs. Messaging, you can now name a thread. Let's say you have group messaging and you've got a bunch of people talking about a vacation plan. And this is something that happens to me every year in Thanksgiving when my father-in-law kicks off a text message to everybody who's getting together for our big family get-together. And there's tons of messages constantly going. You can name that thread, so you could say vacation plans. More importantly, you can add or remove people from a thread that's currently going. You can add or remove yourself from a thread. You can do not disturb a thread, and it will take all attachments from that thread and put them in a single location. So you don't have to sit there and scroll if there's like 15 different pictures or whatever from 14 different people. You can just scroll to the bottom and see it. The other thing is if everybody's on an iPhone, you can do share locations if allowed. So you could, if everybody's getting together, let's say you're planning a party, a bunch of people are in town, you're all dispersed throughout the city and you want to get together at a location, you can share location and do that for a period of time, for an hour, for the rest of the day, or until you turn it off, which is also kind of a cool social feature. Let's see, raise to talk. Let's say you get one of those text messages that's on your screen. You actually have a new feature with the text messaging capability as well, where we can reply with voice and video in a text message just by simply clicking and dragging a button. But let's say I'm in a text message and I get a text that has a voice attachment. If I want to reply to that text and not type because I'm driving, I can simply pick the phone up from the lock screen, record a saying, put the phone down, and automatically sends that, which is kind of cool. And again, I'm going to try and get a hold of iOS 8 as soon as possible so I can demo some of these live features. iCloud. We've got the updates to the iCloud features, which we briefly talked about. They're going to be releasing new pricing, which is also cool. I'll have more info below. I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible, but it's taken a while. iCloud, where was that? iCloud, where was the... So new pricing, you can get 20 gigs for 99 cents a month. Pretty awesome. You probably need it with some of these new features. Enterprise, for those of you who use Enterprise, there's a couple of things that are kind of cool. Health Kit. So the Health Kit app will now integrate all of your health and fitness apps together in a single place. They're also integrating with Mayo Clinic. This is really cool. So let's say you have a heart monitor and you're integrated with the Mayo Clinic and your doctor is integrated with that info as well. If you have problems with your heart, the app will automatically alert your doctor and pass those vital information across to the Mayo Clinic, which is kind of cool. So they're bringing together the Health Kit. Also, it'll use all your third-party apps in a single place, so you don't have to open your Fitbit app to find out how many steps you've taken. You don't have to open your MyFitness app to count your calories. You don't have to open your heart rate monitor or your blood glucose monitor. You just open the Health Kit app and it integrates all of those individual apps into a single location for to monitor. New family sharing capabilities. Share calendars, location, photos, reminders, and media. Set up a family sharing of up to 6 family members who use the same credit card number for their iTunes account, and you can share media. So if you've got a brother that downloaded a movie using your credit card and you want to watch that movie, stream it directly through. You get that access. Same thing with apps. You can download apps, movie, music, books with the family sharing capability. Let's see, permission for in-app purchases. This is a great one. I've got a son who wants to buy apps all the time, and I didn't put a card in there, so anytime he wants to buy an app, I have to buy it, which means I have to get his phone. Now I can go ahead and securely put the credit card number in his iTunes. He can select an app to purchase, and it'll alert me of what the app he's trying to buy, and I can either approve it or not allow it immediately from my device. That is something that is totally awesome for parents out there. I think that's great. New photos. Photos integrate with iCloud. Better. So all your photos, as opposed to just photo sharing, all your photos will integrate with iCloud. Smart search and suggestions to look for photos. Smart editing, very cool new editing features for lightning and contrast and all of the some really cool features for the photo app. Straightening and cropping. Photo app on a Mac is coming next year. They're going to ship that in with Yosemite, so you're going to have the same Photos app that you have on your iPad and your iPhone available on the Mac, so you can see all your iCloud photos directly and edit. Updates to Siri. You can now say, "Hey Siri," without hitting the home button in case you're in your car, and Siri will start, so you don't have to look at your phone, hit the button, do all that kind of stuff. Shazam recognitions through Siri, streaming voice recognition through Siri, and they now have 22 new languages available for Siri. And then there's some dev stuff. And some of the dev stuff is actually pretty cool because it's going to mean cool stuff for you, for the end user. Test Flight, if you know a developer, Test Flight will allow them to allow you to beta test their app while they're developing it. Very cool. New SDK, they're calling it the biggest SDK since the Apple App Store has launched. Widgets are now part of the SDK. So third-party developers can now program widgets for your phone. In the notification center, you can have live widgets. And again, going back to that eBay example, they showed where they had an eBay widget that had been programmed. They were bidding. They got notified that they had been outbidded, and they could rebid directly from the widget. So widgets are coming to iOS. iOS is doing a little, or Apple is doing a little bit with it, but it's open for third party. Touch ID for third party. So the Touch ID on the new iPhone is now being opened up. The APIs are now being opened up, so third-party apps can use this. You want to log into your bank account, you want to log into your Mint account, you want to log into your Facebook account, third-party API allowing the Touch ID, which is really big, awesome. Camera API is being released, so third-party vendors can do manual controls for things like brightness and contrast and saturation and hue, f-stop, ISO. You can get full manual controls out of your camera with third-party applications as soon as they're programmed, again, caveat. HomeKit allows automation for home. If you have some of the new features where you can turn your thermostat down, or you can lock your doors, you can open your garage, you can do all those types of things to start your dishwasher. You may have individual apps for each of those functions that I just mentioned. The new HomeKit will integrate those all together, and the cool part is you can bundle things together. So the example they gave is time for bed. Automatically shut the garage, lock all the doors, and turn the lights out. Really cool features with the Home app for home automation as well. Another new thing, Metal is a new API for 3D graphics. They taken the OpenGL and they removed that stack and made it much smaller and made it much more streamlined. They had a couple of demos from Epic Games and Crytek and a couple of other companies that are developing specifically with this new gaming API to allow some amazing manipulation of the gaming processor on the iOS devices. Swift is replacing the new programming language, which is Objective-C. So if you're a programmer of iOS apps, you have a new programming language to play with. It looks a lot easier. There's a little debate, and I might actually do a video on that with a buddy of mine who is a developer. And again, iOS beta is available today for developers, and it'll be available in fall, most likely with the new iPhone announcements. So lots of cool stuff. I wanted to bang this out. It's not as short as I wanted it to be, but there was a lot of information to cram. I'm going to do some subsequent videos with my opinions of some of these new features, so stay tuned for that. As always, like the comment. You can do that. You can like the video, comment, ask some questions. I'm going to have links to the video once it is available for streaming, and all of the other things that I talked about. If there's links for them, I'll get that. I'm going to try and put some pictures into the video, which you've already seen if you've been watching this video. But as always, like, subscribe, comment, retweet, Google+, all those other websites. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.